welcome to the Scuba Academy. I'm your host, Michael Mark. I hope you're doing well wherever you are on our blue planet. In today's episode, we will be discussing the iconic Bonaire dive site, the Hilma Hooker. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Now, without further delay, let's jump straight in. The blue and turquoise waters of the Caribbean are home to many great shipwrecks, each with their own unique history and dive profile. But perhaps the most interesting of the more contemporary additions to this collection is the wreck of the legendary Hilma Hooker. I will not be delving deeply into the infamous history of the Hilma Hooker, other than to say it sank on September 12th, 1984, and spent its last days as a drug smuggler. If you are interested in learning more about the history of the Hilma Hooker, I will attach a link below. The dive site, Hilma Hooker, is located between the dive sites of Angel City to its south and the lake to the north. The parking area of this dive site is large, as befits a site of such popularity. The site's shore entry is fairly easy. You will need to step off the smooth rock shelf carefully into knee-deep water, then work your way out through the surf carefully before completing setting up. Like most of the southern dive sites, this process can be daunting if the surf is rough. Across the street from the dive site are large radio towers. These towers are very helpful when surface navigating to and from the wreck's 3 buoy lines. The surface swim to these buoys is the furthest in Bonaire, with the reef buoy being the closest to shore. The buoys look deceivingly close to shore, but they are not. You will need to possess ample stamina to reach these buoys. If you are concerned that the surface swim will be too strenuous, or if you have a large camera rig, you will be better doing this site as a boat dive. Also be aware of any rip currents, which can be particularly harrowing on dive sites like the Hooker that are further from shore. The wreck itself lies in approximately 100 feet of water, its body resting parallel to shore. You can drop in on top of the stern of the Hooker at about 50 feet if you prefer a shallower dive. Even at this shallow depth, you will be able to see the wreck in its entirety. The site is marked with 3 buoys, which serve as descent markers. The first buoy is located at the top of the reef for those that wish to incorporate more of the upper reef into their dive. The second buoy, or the south, marks the bow, which is the deepest area of the wreck. The third buoy, or north, marks the stern, which is the shallowest area of wreck. The 240-foot-long Hooker came to rest on a sandy patch between the 2 reef system of Angel City. Miraculously, the reef in this area was little impacted, and in fact seems to be benefiting from the Hooker's addition. The upper reef has now begun to envelop the keel of the wreck into its own. This organic embrace has bestowed the wreck with gorgeous outcroppings of coral and sponge that flourish on the metal skin of the Hooker. Tarpon now regularly patrol the deck and open holes of this behemoth. Other sentinels, such as large green moray, grouper, and barracuda, are also common visitors. The Hooker lies on its starboard side, with its bow nestled into the sand at its deepest point. I would suggest descending on the buoy attached to the bow, and beginning your dive at the wreck's deepest point, and slowly working your way to the stern, where you can explore the Hooker's mighty propeller before ascending up the stern buoy line, or if you prefer, making your way back to shore over the reef. Your dive time on the wreck will be brief due to the Hooker's depth, usually 20 to 30 minutes max, followed by your swim back to shore over the reef. Don't worry, the swim back to shore over the reef is much easier and more enjoyable than the surface swim out. There are many points of interest to explore on the Hooker, such as the wheelhouse, a hidden air pocket, and several cargo holds that are open on each end and make fun swim-throughs for those with good buoyancy. However, do not attempt to penetrate into the engine room or any other interior areas. These areas are extremely dangerous to enter due to their darkness and the entanglement hazards present inside them. Keep your dive safe. Keep your dive fun. In order to safely see all of what the Hilma Hooker offers, you will need to do several dives on the wreck. Just make sure to create a dive plan and stick to it. The Hilma Hooker is an advanced dive, and only divers possessing advanced certification or greater should consider diving it. I highly recommend diving this site first with an experienced guide. Whether diving by shore or boat, an experienced guide will help you unlock the Hilma Hooker's secrets safely, so that you can more confidently dive it later with your buddies. In closing, the wreck of the Hilma Hooker is one of Bonaire's finest dives, and certainly ranks as one of the world's best. Combining the stunning beauty of Bonaire's reef with the dramatic scope and relief of such a large wreck makes this dive site truly special. Furthermore, the depth of the wreck is absolutely perfect for recreational diving forays. The Hilma Hooker is a dive site you will want to dive and visit again and again. Thank you for joining me. If you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Until next time, cheers.